Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of 28 Years Later on Netflix. And I overall did not enjoy this movie. There's certain aspects of it that I liked, but overall I just did not like the direction they kind of went with. And I just felt like it went a little bit too kind of like artistic a little bit in certain kind of things to where it kind of threw you off a little bit of what was kind of going on, of if you were seeing something before or after, and it was just enough to kind of toss you off on certain kind of things, but I overall wouldn't recommend it. And this really one is kind of like definitely goes more into the sequel baiting kind of territory with the ending. I mean, you get a conclusion to the main kind of overarching story that you get, but it really gets more of like ending the movie at a kind of strange spot rather than kind of ending it and then kind of getting us into what was kind of going on. So this starts off pretty much during the initial wave of the virus. We see these kids in a room watching the Teletubbies as things are going to go into shit. We see that the infected get into the house. They pretty much start ripping apart the room. This one kid, Jimmy, is pretty much told to go find his father. His father's like pretty much going on the apocalypse, day of judgment kind of shit, and then gives him this cross necklace, and then he tells him to kind of get out before the infected come in, and then he gets infected and the kid's like underneath there. That tease doesn't effectively get anything until at the end of the movie. So keep that in mind, as this is pretty much just shy of 2 hours. Let's see here. 115 minutes. Then we get into the 28 years later, and we see this pretty much community that's closed off. The entirety of the United Kingdom has been quarantined. There's evidently blockades. We get a little bit of this where a soldier pretty much, their ship goes down, and they kind of get in with them. But he only kind of crosses into the plot, and that it kind of demands a kind of cool set piece. Like, I only think that this person's in there to kind of like link us up with the outside world a little bit, but I'm very hard at kind of justifying of like why that's even needed to begin with. We're pretty much seeing what's going on here with this closed off kind of community, how their kind of rules are in place. However, we are given these rules and not really seeing the consequences or why they do these rules. So it's like, alright, cool. Okay. Mainly in regards to what happens as Jamie and Spike pretty much are like going out. Let's see here. So the rage virus has been eradicated from continental Europe. We've got this holy island of Lindisfarne. Let's see. Which pretty much is protected by this kind of tide thing, that there's like this little kind of causeway, and if it's high tide you can't get through it, and if it's low so you better time yourself low tide to kind of get back. So we see that Jamie pretty much cooks some bacon and cooks some stuff for his kid. He's taking him out at 12. This is instead of the normal kind of 15 to pretty much hunt and kill. Everybody's like being all cool with them and all that, I mean, like, yeah, cool, whatever. And we do see them kind of like training and everything with like medieval kind of tactics with bows and arrows, because they don't really have guns or anything. Mainly thing that I really connected with was with Spike's character. Of course, he's going out with his father. An interesting kind of thing that I do kind of like is the duality of him going out with his father, and then the second part of the journey of him going out with his mother, and how they're kind of different and what kind of goes on with them kind of coming back. The infected kind of take a back seat to an extent, except when they're utilized for kind of set pieces and other kind of certain kind of plot developments. We'll get into that mainly in regards to Spike and his mother doing their stuff. We are introduced to the mother, and something is not right with her. She's acting kind of different. We don't know if she's infected at first, but she's not acting infected. We don't know if the infection has kind of mutated or anything, but we get later on that it's nothing to do with the infection. So they go out. We see that one of the infected kind of variants that we've got is these kind of slow movers on the ground that pretty much go for like worms. They're not pissed off and going rah, until you actually kind of activate their asses. We see the Spike is able to take one out, and then Jamie pretty much goes and like takes out the rest of them. We get this little one that's like a baby kind of one, and Spike pretty much advocates for it to be left alone. It's like, all right, cool, showing that he has more of a compassionate kind of side of what's kind of going on. So they're pretty much just tooling around, looking at different kind of stuff, but then of course they get set upon by an alpha. An alpha evidently can kind of control a group of infected. And, also, if you're uncomfortable with frontal nudity, that is a thing that's going on in here. I mean, most of the infected are, like, naked. We pretty much get some full frontal male, and then female in, like, a pregnant one that we learned that they can have babies, and they aren't infected in the first kind of bit. That mainly gets linked back up with the mother kind of thing. But they get set upon, and they kind of hide out in this house. We see this kind of flaming thing in the distance. He's asking his father about it. He's like, I don't know what the fuck that is, and stop asking about that. And then we pretty much get this kind of thing of, like, all these deer or whatnot running by the house. The thing kind of, like, takes out. And then we see that the alpha pretty much chases them back to the settlement. They first think they're alright, but the motherfucker just keeps tanking, and they've run out of arrows and stuff at this point because they were running from the group that the alpha was in charge of. Spike shoots at shit but doesn't hit anything, and I'm like, yeah, running and gunning with a bow and arrow is not easy, and you were just pretty much getting set upon to learn how to take out kind of slow-moving motherfuckers. These motherfuckers, I get it on it, and he, of course, is like, that really weighs on his ass. Especially when we get more into the settlement. And the settlement uses a flaming kind of giant ballistae thing that hits the alpha. However, the flame, like, it goes out because it's in the water. It's like, then why did you turn it on fire? Like, I get it if the fucker's up for like 30 seconds to a minute. Could cause a lot of damage. The fucker just goes down like that, and it's like, okay, and we don't see, like, it getting dragged off or anything like that, and then we just see this whole kind of party thing going on, where his dad's completely and utterly talking about pretty much living vicariously through the kid, and then also, it's like, what the fuck, and Spike's like, this is bullshit, and then Spike kind of leaves the party, sees that his father is having an extramarital affair with actually someone else that's also married, and he's just trying to figure out what's going on and what's going on with his mother. Also, what's going on with the fire. So this Sam dude tells him about, let's see, Dr. Ian Kelson, a former GP in exile. He's like, oh, he's crazy and everything like that. Well, Spike confronts his father, and he smacks the kid, and he goes up to the mother to kind of just figure out what's kind of going on, because he also confronted that, like, she's dying. Something is fucking wrong with her. We need to figure that shit out. And, of course, he tells Jamie to stay away, pulls a knife on him. The dude grabs the knife from him, but then gives it back to him and punches a hole pretty much into the wall as he's going away. And then Spike pretty much is like, alright, I gotta find out what's going on with my mom, and decides to take her there. Pretty much sets something on fire to get people from the gate away, and takes his mother out, and they pretty much just go around to get there. We also see that, what are they? Swedish Navy. Seaman Eric Sundqvist. Yeah. We see that they pretty much get, his group pretty much gets beset upon by infected, pretty much infecting the other ones, and then an alpha pretty much is like ripping people's heads off, because evidently the infection can like act as steroids to certain ones, even though they eerily look similar. Like they use the same kind of like alpha person. I don't need it to be completely and utterly changed every time we see an alpha, but it's like, alright, so evidently you're using that same alpha dude, alright, fine. And they pretty much are set upon by some infected, get into a gas station that's pretty much filled with some gas, and he kind of like helps them out. Let me see. And the thing is, he also talked about the doctor to his father, Jamie, and said that like they came upon that dude and that he was like burning corpses and shit like that, and was like, "Hey, hunky dory dude," it's like, we ain't fucking around. That was like years ago. It's like, okay. So we pretty much get that kind of explosion. The Eric dude is like, all right, fine, I'll kind of walk with you. Pretty much doing stuff about cell phones and like trying to have any kind of like outside world connection with the kid, but it's like they're quarantined. They don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It's like it just doesn't really add to the story other than like, oh yeah, the outside world has moved on and everything like that. I just wish it was kind of more concerned with Spike and his mother and Ilsa. That's the mother. Ilsa. No, Isla. Ilsa. Why did I say that? Isla. Okay. So he pretty much like, showing his, like, fiance and everything and talking about, like, how his one friend was a delivery driver and that he'd want to be a delivery driver now instead of doing this kind of shit. Instead of proving his manhood. It's like, okay, I'm alright with that theme and everything of, like, yeah, these rituals and stuff, it's kind of fucking stupid. Just be yourself. And that kind of is what we see with him and the mother. That Isla is talking about how her father was kind and that he reminds her of her grandfather. Even going as so far as that she keeps blending and calling him dad and everything like that. Well, they find Isla, like, finds the pregnant one just giving birth in a train car, is able to get it, and it's not infected with blood or anything. Eric kills it, and then, of course, gets set upon and his fucking head ripped off by the Alpha, and then they pretty much get into contact with, Kelson. He pretty much, like, tranks the fucking thing and says, oh, yeah, iodine, it really doesn't, the virus doesn't fuck with that shit. It's like, okay, just other people should know about this, but alright, whatever. And just shows, like, all these kind of, like, bones that he's doing a memento mori kind of thing that, like, everybody dies. That he pretty much just takes corpses, burns off their stuff, and just does stuff with bones. It's like, oh, okay. So they pretty much take Eric's skull, which was, like, left behind, and, like, do that kind of shit. Kelson pretty much looks at the mother and finds out that she's got cancer. They got nothing they can do. Spike's like, come on, can you do something? And it's like, I'm sorry. Consoles Spike, advising him, memento amoris, remember you must love. So they kind of like share a last moment together. Kelson euthanizes her and then brings back her skull, and he places it at the top and takes the baby with him, leaves it at the settlement, and goes out to just do his own shit, pretty much. Because the Samson Alpha infected was like, yeah, came in and be like, yeah. Spike was able to help Kelson, saving his life, and Kelson's like, you know what, you probably should go home with the infant. He leaves her at the gate, returns to the mainland, still disillusioned with, like, everything that's been going on. Jamie reading the note and reveals that he named the baby girl Isla after the mother, and that he's just kind of going and doing his own shit. Like, the Jamie dude tries to run out and see what's kind of going on, but of course he's gone by that point. And then we hit another 28 days later as he's, like, eating stuff, infected are coming out his ass, and then we see the Jimmy dude, British media personality Jimmy Savile. Oh, okay. That's kind of weird. I didn't know about that dude. Evidently a media personality and DJ. And then, like, allegations of sexual abuse and shit like that. Oh, an infected by, let me see. Spike is rescued by from a pack of infected by group styled after the British media personality Jimmy Savile. He is greeted by their leader, the adult Jimmy Crystal, now bearing an inverted cross. I didn't get that. So, since I And of course, that makes sense. That's kind of like watching a certain kind of anime and not understanding like the Japanese context that's going on. Sorry, I just looked more at the. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? I knew they were kind of like dressed Teletubby style, color wise, as they're going around and fucking going like killing the infected like fucking some kind of crazy ass action movie kind of shit, which hasn't really fit into the style of what's going on. But the Jimmy dude's like, hey, how are you? Do you want some help and shit? We'll deal with these motherfuckers. I'm like, I don't care. Like, there's stuff I don't mind looking at Spike, trying to understand how he fits in the world, what goes on with this world, how his relationship is with his father versus with his mother, and everything like that. That shit that I'm really into, and I like exploring that depth. That's why I didn't go with like a complete double thumbs down on this. Never mind the fact that it is at least shot pretty well, except for like trying to fuck with you time-wise on certain kind of shit. There's the things around it of like, okay, how it's done, how it's executed that really didn't fit with me. Now, if it fit with you, and you're good on it, that's cool. Enjoy it. Have awesome fun with it. That's not my objective here to like... It's never my objective to shit on anybody's fun. This just didn't work for me, and I'm definitely glad I didn't go to see it in the theaters. I'm glad I didn't buy it. I was into like... I've seen portions of 28 Days Later. I've seen 28 Weeks Later and enjoyed it as a movie. Jeremy Rainer's in it. Yeah, this just really didn't do it for me. As like an action movie, as a story to kind of explore certain kind of themes. Even as kind of like a zombie movie, it just didn't work. There weren't any parts where I was scared or freaked out or unnerved. It's just like, oh, okay, this is going on. This is happening. And nothing pulled me in. And that's a big thing on movies. They kind of need to pull you in to a certain degree to be like, okay, I'm on this. So I really wouldn't recommend it for people that are really looking into a lot of character depth or action or world or lore building, actually. Pardon me. Yeah. So those are my opinions on the movie. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.